Robert "Ghost" Patterson pushed open the glass doors of Iron Phoenix Gym, his 69-year-old frame moving slowly but deliberately through the maze of weight machines and cardio equipment. The faded Navy SEAL Team 6 patch on his worn military jacket caught the attention of Marcus Thompson, a 26-year-old personal trainer with perfect abs and an ego to match. "Seriously, old man?" Marcus called out loudly enough for everyone to hear. "You think that costume is gonna fool anyone? We don't need fake heroes cluttering up our gym." The entire gym went quiet. 23 people stopped their workouts to stare at the elderly man in the military jacket. "Go home and play checkers, Grandpa," Marcus continued, his voice dripping with contempt. "Leave the real training to people who can actually handle it." A chorus of snickers rippled through the crowd. Robert stood motionless for a moment, his weathered hands clenched at his sides, then turned and walked out without saying a word. 3 hours later, Iron Phoenix Gym's Instagram account posted a photo of Robert walking away, captioned, "We don't tolerate stolen valor. Real gyms for real warriors only. No fake veterans, respect real service." The post exploded across social media. Within 6 hours, it had been shared 12,000 times, with comments ranging from support for the gym to outrage at the treatment of an elderly man. Local news stations picked up the story. The hashtag #FakeVeteranShamed began trending in Arizona. Marcus Thompson basked in the attention, giving interviews to anyone who would listen. "Look, I support our troops 100%, he told Channel 5 News, "but stolen valor is a serious crime. This guy was obviously some wannabe trying to get attention." "How could you tell he wasn't a real veteran?" the reporter asked. "Come on, look at him. Guy can barely walk, probably never seen a day of combat in his life. Real SEALs don't look like that." The interview aired on the evening news, generating even more buzz. Iron Phoenix Gym's membership inquiries spiked as people wanted to join the gym that stood up against fake veterans. But at 11:47 p.m., 12 hours after the original post, a comment appeared that changed everything. The comment came from the verified official account of the United States Navy SEALs. Robert Patterson served with distinction for 24 years. SEAL Team 6, 1,975 1,999. Multiple classified operations. This man is no fake. He's the reason many of us learn to hold a weapon. Video tribute follows tomorrow. Within minutes, the comment had been screenshot and shared across every social media platform. The original post's comment section became a battlefield between people demanding apologies and others claiming the Navy account had been hacked. Marcus Thompson's phone began ringing at midnight. Reporters who had praised him hours earlier now wanted to know how he felt about being wrong. The gym's owner, Patricia Hernandez, called an emergency meeting for 6 a.m. "Marcus, what the hell did you do?" she demanded when they met in her office. "I was protecting our reputation. How was I supposed to know he was real?" "You could have asked for his military ID. You could have done literally anything except humiliate him on social media. Look, the guy looked like every other stolen valor case I've seen online. Old, out of shape, probably never left his hometown." Patricia stared at him in disbelief. "Marcus, the official Navy SEALs account just vouched for him. What part of that are you not understanding? Maybe they made a mistake. Or maybe you did." At 9 a.m. the next morning, CNN aired a segment that ended Marcus Thompson's career and changed everything anyone thought they knew about the quiet old man who'd been laughed out of Iron Phoenix Gym. The segment began with archival footage from 2011 grainy, classified video that had been declassified just 24 hours earlier by special order of the Secretary of Defense. "This is Robert Patterson," the CNN anchor explained as the video showed a figure in full combat gear. "For 24 years he served in the most elite units of the United States Navy. What you're seeing is classified footage from Operation Neptune's Spurth mission that killed Osama bin Laden." The video showed Robert, then 59 years old, providing sniper cover for the assault team as they approached bin Laden's compound. His call sign, barely audible in the audio, was Ghost 6. Patterson was part of the Overwatch team, a retired Navy SEAL commander explained in an interview. While the assault team went into the compound, Ghost 6 and his team made sure nobody got out. He had 17 confirmed kills that night, protecting the team that took down the most wanted terrorist in American history. The segment continued with testimony from other SEALs who had served with Robert. Ghost was a legend, said one retired operator, his face obscured for security reasons. He taught half the guys in the teams how to shoot. The other half learned from people he taught. When you see these young SEALs on TV, remember that Robert Patterson is the reason they know which end of the rifle to hold. Another SEAL added, "The guy never talked about his service, never bragged, never even mentioned what he'd done. He just did his job and went home to his family." That's what real professionals do. The CNN segment revealed that Robert had been awarded the Navy Cross, 2 Silver Stars, and 4 Bronze Stars, all for classified operations that couldn't be publicly acknowledged until now. After 9/11, the anchor continued, Patterson was deployed continuously for 8 years. Iraq, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Syria. Operations so classified that his own family didn't know where he was or what he was doing. The final part of the segment showed recent footage of Robert volunteering at a homeless shelter in Phoenix, serving meals to other veterans who had fallen on hard times. Patterson retired in 1999, the anchor concluded, but continued serving his country as a contractor until 2015. He now volunteers full-time helping homeless veterans, asking for nothing in return except the chance to serve his brothers, who didn't make it home whole. By noon, Iron Phoenix Gym was surrounded by protesters. Some demanded the gym apologize, others called for it to be shut down entirely. The phone rang constantly with cancellation requests from members who were embarrassed to be associated with the business. Patricia Hernandez stood in her office, watching the crowd through the window, when her assistant knocked on the door. "Ms. Hernandez, there's someone here to see you." Robert Patterson stood in the doorway, still wearing the same faded military jacket. "Mr. Patterson," Patricia said, standing up immediately. "I'm so incredibly sorry about what happened. Marcus has been terminated, and we're prepared to offer you a lifetime membership and a public apology." Robert held up his hand. "I didn't come here for an apology." "Then what can I do for you?" "I came to work out." Patricia stared at him. "You want to work out? Here? After what we did to you?" "I need to stay in shape. This is the closest gym to my apartment." "Mr. Patterson, there are dozens of gyms in Phoenix that would give you free membership after what happened. You don't have to come back here." Robert looked around the gym, where every piece of equipment sat unused because all the staff and members were watching the news coverage of their humiliation. "Ms. Hernandez, I spent 24 years serving my country in places where people tried to kill me every day. You think I'm gonna let some kid with biceps scare me away from a treadmill?" Patricia couldn't help but smile. "What do you need?" "A day pass. I'll pay for it." "Mr. Patterson, your money is no good here. Ever." "Then I'll find another gym." Patricia realized she was dealing with a man who had never asked for special treatment in his life and wasn't about to start now. "How about this?" she said. "You pay the same rate as everyone else, but we donate your membership fees to the homeless veterans shelter." Robert considered this. "That works." Patricia handed him a membership card. "The gym is yours, Mr. Patterson." Robert walked onto the main floor, where the few remaining staff members and early afternoon members had gathered around the television. When they saw him enter, conversation stopped. Marcus Thompson's replacement, a young trainer named Sarah who had started that morning, approached nervously. "Mr. Patterson? I'm Sarah. I just wanted to say it's an honor to have you here." "I'm just here to work out." "Of course. Is there anything you need? Any equipment preferences?" Robert looked around the gym, then pointed to a simple weight bench in the corner. "That'll do." As Robert walked toward the bench, something extraordinary happened. Every person in the gym staff members, even the delivery driver who had stopped to watch the news stood up. They didn't applaud. They didn't cheer. They just stood in respectful silence as the man who had spent 24 years in the shadows finally stepped into the light. Robert sat down on the bench and began his workout, unaware that his simple presence had transformed a place of mockery into a shrine of respect. He didn't know that 3 members had quietly canceled their cancellations. He didn't know that Sarah had already called her veteran father to tell him about meeting a real American hero. He just did his workout the same way he'd done everything else for 69 years, quietly, professionally, without asking for recognition or reward. When Robert finished his routine 45 minutes later, he walked to the front desk where Patricia was waiting. "How was your workout, Mr. Patterson?" "Good. I'll see you tomorrow." "Same time?" "Same time." As Robert walked toward the exit, Sarah called after him. "Mr. Patterson, thank you for your service." Robert paused at the door and turned back. For the first time since entering the gym, he smiled. "Thank you for yours." After Robert left, Patricia looked around at her staff and remaining members. The gym was quiet, but it was a different kind of quiet than before. It was the silence of people who had witnessed something they would never forget. Her phone rang. It was a reporter from the Washington Post. "Ms. Hernandez, we'd like to do a follow-up story about Mr. Patterson returning to your gym. Can you comment?" Patricia looked at the bench where Robert had worked out, where he would work out again tomorrow and every day after that. "Mr. Patterson is a member of Iron Phoenix Gym," she said. "That's all you need to know." She hung up the phone and walked over to the bench Robert had used. Taped to the wall behind it was the original Instagram post that had started the whole controversy. Patricia tore it down and threw it in the trash. In its place she hung a simple sign, "Reserved for members of the armed forces." The next morning, Robert Patterson walked through the doors of Iron Phoenix Gym at exactly the same time as the day before. This time, he wasn't alone. Behind him walked 12 other men, all in their 50s and 60s, all wearing various military insignia. The homeless veterans from the shelter had decided to join their friend for his workout. Patricia met them at the front desk with 12 membership cards already prepared. "Gentlemen, welcome to Iron Phoenix Gym." Robert looked at his friends, then at Patricia. "They can't all afford memberships. They're not paying. These are complimentary memberships for homeless veterans, funded by private donations." "What donations?" Patricia smiled. "Yours, and about 3,000 other people who saw the news coverage and wanted to help." Robert stared at the membership cards, then at his friends who hadn't had a place to shower regularly in months, let alone work out. "How long are the memberships good for?" "As long as they need them." Robert picked up his membership card and walked toward the weight bench. His 12 friends followed, spreading out across the gym to equipment they hadn't used in years. As they began their workouts, other members started arriving for the morning rush. But instead of the usual chatter and music, the gym fell into a respectful quiet. Patricia watched from her office as the homeless veterans worked out alongside suburban housewives and college students. Nobody stared, nobody whispered, they just shared the space like human beings. Her assistant knocked on the door. "Ms. Hernandez, there's a line outside, people wanting to join." Patricia looked out the window. At least 50 people stood in line, most of them wearing military insignia or veteran support t-shirts. "Process their applications," she said. "All of them." By the end of the week, Iron Phoenix Gym had more members than ever before. The story had gone national, inspiring similar programs at gyms across the country. But the most important change was invisible to the news cameras. Every morning at the same time, Robert Patterson walked through the doors and sat down at the same bench. Sometimes he was alone. Sometimes he brought friends from the shelter. Sometimes active-duty military members asked if they could work out beside him. He never spoke about his service. He never mentioned the awards or the classified operations. He just did his workout, the same way he'd done everything else for 69 years. And every morning when Robert Patterson walked into Iron Phoenix Gym, everyone who saw him remembered what real strength looked like.